So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my humble office today. And today I wanted to make a video on the sign of Pisces and how important the sign of Pisces is. And it's actually kind of like a misunderstood sign, especially when planets are sitting in the sign of Pisces. See, Pisces in the zodiac order, the mathematical order, is the 12th sign, 12th zodiac sign. And it is the last zodiac sign of the zodiac belt. And in astrology, it represents the 12th house, because if there are 12 signs, there's going to be 12 houses. Each house means something. And the meaning of Pisces and meaning of the 12th house pretty much the same. It is liberation, it is moksha, it's about purification of your soul, because when you die, what happens? Your soul gets pured, it's purified. So whether you were a killer, whether you were a dentist, doctor, musician, the soul purifies itself as soon as it gets out of this game. And Pisces and this 12th house represents the loss of our physical self. That's why the 12th house is the house of loss. Pisces represents the loss of our physical self. Because what happens when you die? Or what happened before you were born? You were probably a soul. You were probably this consciousness, probably locked in a cage in a box. And they're like, okay, it's time for you to go into this body. So Vishnu, Shiva, Jesus, whoever, took out this soul and threw it onto into your mother's womb. And Pisces is a sign, mainly, is a sign of experience. See, more than anything else, many people just think that Pisces is just a lazy sign. It is a sign that just does not want to do anything. It is a sign that just always wants to be in the la la land and in a great daydreaming land. It's hard to understand them. They just always just want to be doing hippie, creative, artistic things. But what you fail to realize, they're well above your own understanding, well above your consciousness. Pisces is like this sign that a few understand. A few who also may have sign of Pisces prominently placed over a certain planet. Because here's the thing about Pisces. When you reach the highest state of yourself, let's say you are a fighter. You started out as a fighter, boxer. You found a guru who's a samurai master. He trained you into becoming a great samurai. You were the greatest samurai in the village, and if anybody attacked your village, you were there to help them. Nobody could beat you. You were able to do things that humanly weren't possible. You went to war, you won the war for the king. And after all of these battles of being a warrior, what happens? Kind of like that teacher Oogway in Kung Fu Panda. It was like the very old turtle who just always wanted to sit under a tree and meditate, eat fruits, talk about life, philosophy, looked at life in a very creative, subtle way. But he was the highest of the Kung Fu masters. And now somebody saw the turtle. So like, oh my God, you think this turtle's gonna beat me? Like Tai Lung in Kung Fu Panda. And it was that turtle, Master Oogway, who disabled Tai Lung within 3 seconds. That is Pisces. That is Pisces. These people have reached a certain state where they simply just do not have that attachment and desire. Pisces is loss of desire. So, for example, you have Mars in the sign of Pisces, and your brother has a Mars in the sign of Aries. Your sibling or friend has a sign of Mars in the sign of Aries. And that person is always like, man, I gotta achieve my goal. I want to be the CEO of this company that I'm in. And then my goal is to actually get that Ferrari, that poster that I have. And I want to build muscles, and I want to really look good out in public so my status rises. That's Mars Aries. It's just me, I am. Then you have a person with Mars in Pisces. And this person, you feel like, man, do you have any motivation in life? Do you do anything in life? Why don't you have a competitive drive? Why don't you do any of that? What is wrong with you? Have some goals, have some, motivation in your life. And without astrology, we would all do that. We would be like, man, my cousin, man, he sits in front of the TV and the couch and just does not want to do anything. He doesn't really care. It's not competitive at all. Because the thing is, Mars, the royer, that kung fu, that panda, has reached the status and the level of Oogway, Master Oogway. You guys should all watch this Kung Fu Panda movie if you haven't. Great lessons in there. But because now the Mars, the royer, has gone through so many lives of competing, killing, fighting, trying to win the bread, it has finally realized the game that it was playing. And so this Mars is like, this competition, this trying to strive for a certain status, trying to strive for a certain goal. This is child's play. This is like play of people like who are adolescents, and they just want to, hit each other, compete with each other, saying that, oh, I have the better toy than you. Oh no, I have a better toy than you. Imagine you saw like a bunch of 10-year-olds doing this with each other on a playground. You would, as a adult, as a grandparent, as a parent, be like, oh my God, kids. I remember when I was at that stage. So don't think that people with planets in the sign of Pisces are no good or they just will not achieve anything. Because the thing is, they have already achieved it. They've already achieved it. And they're simply here to understand. See, Mars in the sign of Pisces becomes a spiritual royer. Their job isn't to go out and fight the battle outside. Now, this life is given to them to understand the battle within and to win the battle within, which is to become a spiritual royer. Mars, instead of picking up a knife to kill, Mars will be in the middle of a forest in 5 o'clock in the morning with sign in Pisces, doing Tai Chi, doing meditation, wanting to understand itself transcendently, because it has reached such a high state that for it to be competitive, it feels like it's downgrading itself. Obviously, many people will be like, well, I have Mars in Pisces, but I am quite competitive. I am quite forceful. Well, that's probably because your Mars is being affected by other planets. Mars is receiving the aspect from some planet in the sign of Virgo. Mars could be receiving an aspect from planet in the sign of Aquarius. Or Mars could be receiving an aspect from some planet in sign in Virgo, like Jupiter. So all these things manipulate and increases or decreases our value of our zodiac sign. But mainly to understand the innate nature of a planet. What is the foundation of this planet in this life for you? Not what it represents for you specifically. Mars says you are here to be a spiritual royer. Saturn in Pisces. Saturn, the planet of work, discipline, organization, structure, duty, commitment. Suddenly in the sign of Pisces, it just does not care. It does not care to be committed to anything. It does not care to be in service for anything. It'll do it because it's in this physical body. It has to feed itself. So it may work in a restaurant, it may work in a job, but doing things. But Saturn would just be like, my work is done. For me now, I just want to serve my soul. So what happens, one of the things with Pisces sign is, these people kind of become quite lost in life. They're like, God, everybody is saying that I should do this, I should do that. Maybe I should. Maybe there's something wrong with me. And that's what happens with Pisces, that self-doubt comes into play. So when you feel there's something wrong with me and I'm no good for nothing, I'm not capable of doing anything, then what happens is you go to the other side of Pisces, which is wanting to experience hallucination, wanting to experience LSD experience, wanting to be in isolation and just be lost so you don't have to think about all these little people in front of you, these adolescents people these adolescents kids who are saying that you need to be something. Come on, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a policeman, scientist. You don't want to do anything? Oh, what's wrong with you? It's kind of like those bunch of high school kids. But the thing is, the other side of Pisces is, once a person realizes who they really are astrologically, then the path becomes clear that I have to go towards a spiritual awakening. I have to go towards my understanding of myself and having a self-awareness. Having self-awareness of who I am. Moon in Pisces, you don't really want to think about the mundane things in life. Your father always talks about politics. Your mother always talks about the neighbor's wife and what's going on, and you take no interest in that. Your father's like, why don't you become an engineer and it'll be good for you. You'll make something of yourself. You never do anything. That quote of never doing anything, it's a clear indication that your mind has reached a certain state where it does not need to experience something of a material plane to understand itself. It doesn't need to have that certificate. Yes, you are a civil engineer now. You are an IT professional now. Oh, look, you're a JD professional. You're a lawyer now. And now you are something. Now your mind can think. No, a planet in Pisces sign simply needs to understand that they have reached a certain level where the only thing that is higher is simply to understand God and to know yourself. So whenever I see, and the reason why I'm making this, because I have come across, and I finally saw this, and I think learning astrology, the best lesson in astrology that I've learned is actually by just looking at your chart. By doing consultations every day, I have gained so much insights into planets, signs, nakshatra, more than probably any of these books, more than any lessons that I've learned. It's the actual experience of me sitting here on the computer and looking at the chart, seeing your email, what you're telling me, and then seeing your post consultations, the questions, and see what's going on with you. That has given me so much more idea about astrology that I could not have just gotten it anywhere. It's like, they say if you want to swim, jump into the swimming pool. And that's it. Just try to fight it and you'll learn. And this is exactly what happens. Like, you learn the books, you learn teachers, you have relatives who are astrologers, and you just like, okay, so this is what it means. That's what Pisces is. And you're just standing. But once you have that live confirmation, like when I had with people in Pisces over and over again, Mars and Pisces, the three big planets, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn in Pisces sign. The one theme that I saw of these people, they're like, I'm doing this, but I have no interest in it. I'm lost. What do I do? I'm lost. What do I do? I'm lost. What do I do? When they don't even realize they actually know more about themselves and the world compared to anybody else. It's like they have reached a certain stage, and that's the reason why they're confused. That they're like, where is my interest and motivation? I don't have it. What's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. So don't think like you're not worth anything, because I get those emails during my consultation that I am, I just feel like I'm not worth of anything. My father says the same thing. I just don't have motivation. I don't have interest. Can you please look and see when will I get a motivation? And I look at it and I'm like, you've already reached your motivation. And this is why it's so important as parents, as friends, as brothers, sisters, cousins, wives, husband, to understand astrology to its most simplest level. So when you realize that, okay, my spouse has Mars in the, ascendant in Pisces, you know that spouse is not going to be driven. He's going to be more about just living more of a simple, subtle life than wanting to be out there. I'm going to compete, and I'm going to give you the big house, and I'm going to give you all the big money, and I'm going to provide you with everything. They'll provide it because they're in this karmic cycle to provide you something. So they will work, they will do things that everybody does, but internally within them, that fire of Mars is asking for self-awareness more than making someone else aware of themselves. You don't need to teach anybody else lesson by hitting them, stabbing them, say, yeah, this is your lesson, you are punished. No. Mars' lesson now in this life is to really just to be a spiritual warrior, be a fighter, be a soldier of someone who's here to fight its own understanding of self. Like Jupiter in Pisces, you will find, and I have found this so many times, this is why Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, 3 planets I really, really wanted to emphasize here in this video today, although other planets do count very importantly. But with Jupiter, a person is like, I don't like to take part in religious activities. I'm not religious. Probably they're agnostics or just, some people even said, I'm not even spiritual. I'm just confused about what this world is, because the fact you are so done with the BS of this world, of organized religion and following this, following that, celebrating this holiday, celebrating that holiday. Your highest Jupiter, your wisdom, your divine intelligence that you have come here with through God, which is Jupiter, has already reached such a state that you don't need to experience any of this to understand yourself. Not even, you probably are the person who might even read Bhagavad Gita, the spiritual text of Hinduism, will be like, I get it, but because the thing is, Jupiter needs to only learn the intelligence of self-awareness. The one thing you have to understand with the sign of Pisces, self-awareness practice is your Bhagavad Gita, it's your Quran, it's your Bible, more than anything else. So if you feel like your son is lazy, son has no interest in studies, and when you see their chart, sometimes I've seen all 3 planets in Pisces, but especially Mars, which is desire, your strength, your energy, your courage. When it's in Pisces, courage is all about trying to understand thyself, not to become an engineer or doctor or surgeon. So understand these planets, and the best thing you can do with these planets, and if you have planets in your horoscope, and you feel like you're lost in life, you don't know who you are, well, that's just like I explained, you already know who you are. Just do self-awareness practices, and that will be like the most highest of the highest motivation for you. That's where you will come alive. And also, like talking about smaller planets, like I was talking about Moon. If you look at Venus is exalted in Pisces. Venus is what? Venus is your passion, your ability to love something, your ability to enjoy life, the luxurious life. Venus is comfort. Venus is your ability to be in a relationship. In sign of Pisces, Venus is at this highest. My goodness. This person needs to get all the material wealth in life, all the love in life. Yet especially when I did my marriage consultations, people who were wanting for love, needing for love, were people with Venus in Pisces. Because the thing is, your Venus has already experienced the art of relationship, has already experienced art of sexual relationships, has already experienced the art of enjoying the luxurious life. Like, yes, wanting that money and the nice car. If you give Venus in Pisces person a Ferrari, they will be done with it within a week. And they will feel so empty within it. Because of the fact Venus will be more about finding itself, understanding its desire through self-love and devotion towards everybody. See, when Venus is debilitated, Venus is in a normal sign, Gemini, Cancer, whatever. Venus says, I want to be devoted to something. Not everything, to something. I want to find that person who's very communicative, or I want to find that person who's very athletic. I have this great ambition towards wanting to enjoy the finest wines and finest scotches, the finest of the steaks at 3 Michelin star restaurant. Venus in Pisces are the people who will enjoy sitting under a tree and eating fruits and being surrounded by people who simply just want to love each other. Because now Venus has reached a certain state, its final state of understanding love and relationship. And that final state of understanding love and relationship is through loving everything equally. And this is why what happens with Venus and Pisces, these people become extremely picky in terms of finding a relationship. Because of the fact they're so lost in understanding what they want, what they're looking for, it'll never come. Like if you're looking for this guy who's tall, dark, handsome, 6'2", drives a BMW, has a nice house, probably is in banking or finance or investment banking, and I would like him to have at least 4 brothers and sisters so I can engage with them. I want him to have this kind of family. You will always run into somebody completely opposite of it, because of the fact Venus is trapped in this 3-dimensional world where it has to focus on these mundane things like relationship, love. And when it does, they feel confused. They're like, why is it that I cannot be satisfied with anybody? Because you have already fulfilled your desire of satisfaction with someone in your past life or past lives. In this life, you need to devote yourself to the highest of devotion and love, which is God. Once you do that, once you devote yourself to the highest of source energy, somebody will come in your life automatically in this particular life and will be like, wow, you are that person. Because you know why? You activated your Venus in the correct manner. Instead of going on into a dance club and looking for somebody who's looking at you so you can go up and dance with them, your Venus will activate itself in the right manner when you devote yourself to the highest of energy. And once that Venus starts dancing, that's when you will feel the love. In such a love, you may not even need anybody in your life. So this is the smaller, the planets with a quicker orbit. So guys, this was my little talk on sign of Pisces. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And if you want to know where your sign of Pisces in your horoscope, which planets might be in Pisces, for that, check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, and Aspects of the Speed of Light, including all my consultations at this link here. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.